Mayhem. Give me a quick little pitch of what the movie's about.
The picture is about 89 minutes. Easy joke, I'm sorry. No, Mayhem is about this dangerous virus called ID7, which makes people who are infected with it lose their inhibitions. So all the things that you are always bottling up because society tells you to, all gone from there. All bets are off. What happens if that virus gets let loose in a law firm? Now that alone will probably make most people go like, yes, I want to see that movie. Just a bunch of lawyers beating the crap out of each other sounds great. But thankfully we have our lead character, Derek Cho, played by Stephen Yeun, is one of those lawyers, also gets infected minutes before he's actually fired for something he didn't even do. So just as he's being booted out of the office, the quarantine goes down, and everyone's stuck in there for 8 hours. So he decides he wants to have words with the boss in very subtle, very subtle terms with a lot more blood. The movie is nuts, and I'm very proud of it.
Do you think the comparisons to the Belko experiment are fair?
I encourage them. We're between James, Greg, and I think we're making this new subgenre called worksploitation. But what's great about Belko and Mayhem kind of as a double feature is that they're two completely different tones. So whereas Belko is this kind of cautionary tale, and it's still fun, but I think Mayhem is a little lighter and a little more just like humor-based in a way. Like I watched the movie and I'm laughing my ass off. I think it's a comedy. Most people are looking at me going like, really? Like, wow, stepping away. But yeah, I think they're completely different, and yet at the same time they're getting the same point across, which is this corporate world sucks. It doesn't foster creativity. It's only stifling the human factor. So if you have movies like this that connect with people on that level, hopefully somebody quits their job and becomes a happier person.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it based in reality? Where did that idea kind of come from?
The idea came from my writer, who probably was dealing with his own issues at work. But I think, most genre tropes allow us to be able to kind of play what if you're using things like dangerous viruses or solar eclipses or anything that you can kind of make seem as real as possible. And the more that you can do that, the more that it makes people go like, wow, this really could happen. But then we just amp it up about 300% in a way. So as long as we can make people have fun with it, but at the same time they go, oh man, this really could happen, or maybe go, I really hope this happens because I really want to punch my boss in the face or do worse, we'll see.
With the way the world's going right now, do you think there's more of a space for these kinds of horror movies?
I think yes. I think there's a lot of people who are very frustrated, who are sick of their jobs, sick of their culture that they're being fostered in, and we're living in a very passive-aggressive time. And this movie to me is a comment on passive aggression, where people have to get 17 different approvals to do anything, or just to take a bite out of their free bagel they got on Bagel Thursday, or decisions are not made until it's like all the way up on the ranks. It just becomes a toxic environment, and I think there's going to be more movies with this kind of theme in the future. The more that we keep corporatizing our world, the more we're going to have reactions like this. I mean, when I read this script, I was in a corporate job. So when I read that, I'm like, yes, I'm telling that story because I know that character. There's going to be a lot more people who are going to want to use the genre and genre movies to kind of tell the same truths. I hope.
So you've got kind of two main characters there. How'd you go about casting those roles?
Well, I got really lucky. Stephen Yeun, who you might know from some zombie movie or show, some zombie television show that's kind of popular these days. If you're familiar with the show, when Steven's character Glenn fake died last time when he was hiding out of the dumpster, I remember Twitter melting. I remember the internet just exploding. Like, oh my God, it was like people thought that one of their own had died. And to see that effect that he had on people, and I was just looking for the most kind of empathetic, real everyman that I possibly could to populate this character, because I wanted people to relate to him. I wanted people to put themselves in his shoes. And I mean, everyone just loves Steven, and he's just such a charismatic character. He's so charming and so real. And once I kind of explained to him what we were doing, he's like, yes, I want to do that. Because we were making a genre film, but we were making something with a bit of a message. And if we could use someone like Steven, because he does some deplorable shit in this movie. but because it's him, we kind of get away with it a little bit. So that was great for him. And then Samara, I had just been a huge fan of hers from Ash vs. Evil Dead, and I thought she was amazing. And then when they said, "Oh, she's available," I'm like, "Done, sold. Let's make this happen." But it wasn't until they got together and on set and really started riffing off with each other, and I think both the camera, and hopefully the audience when they see it will fall in love with them. To me, they're Martin and Lewis of our times. They're like the buddy team that you just want to keep seeing in movies. I would watch them in a ton of different movies, like just together, but like separate the parts, change it up a little bit, but they're just so great together, and they feel like you're hanging out with friends. So if I can have that and use that to my power to get people to watch the movie and really engage with it, half my job is done.
Just very quickly, what are you doing next?
This movie called Taste, which is a high cuisine couture cannibalism film. Everybody who's taking pictures of their Instagram, of their food with their Instagram, or like, lauding all of these culinary rock stars and stuff, I'm making a movie in that world. So again, I get to kind of have a little bit of fun with like cultural relevance, but gussy it up on a nice beautiful plate, put some paprika on it, put some parsley in there and everything. But boy, does it get dark too. So this is going to be more of a return to me doing like a straight horror movie, whereas this movie is more of like a comedy, satire, sci-fi, action, whatever. This one's going to be a horror movie, and I'm really excited. Cool, excellent.